But when I say sales, I think Nigel. And when I think of Nigel, I think of smiles and laughter and comedy. I don't know what he's going to bring up here, but I do know there'll be a smile. I imagine there'll be lots of laughter. And I know there will be some absolute golden nuggets when it comes to sales. So who actually in the room likes selling? Oh, there's more than I thought, actually. Oh, Chris is there. He's like, yeah, I'm on it. There is more. You might have your work cut out here, Nigel. Stranger things have happened. So Nigel is going to share with you his talk, which is how to sell more without being salesy, because nobody wants to come across as that horrible salesperson, do they? So please welcome to the stage Mr. Nigel Campbell.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me at the back? Good stuff, good stuff. My name is Nigel Campbell. I am going to talk to you today about doing sales without being salesy. But before we begin, there's something I want to do, because one of my favourite people growing up was a guy called Mr. Motivator. Some of you are too young to remember him. But I want you to actually do this thing for me, because I love it. Everybody say, yeah. Yeah. Love it. No, I used to love it. He'd come on breakfast TV and he'd dance and his legs would be all like this. Crazy. So I'm Nigel Campbell. My background is sales. I've been doing face-to-face sales for 26 years. I've worked for Yellow Pages. No tomatoes, that's okay then. Sometimes you mention yellow and people's faces get all contorted. I work for Groupon. You heard of Groupon? Vouchers. Get your hair done. You can see it work with me, can't you? I also work for a company called The Entertainer, who are based in Dubai, but tried to launch in the UK with the same name. So you can imagine what happened when I phone people. Hey, it's Nigel here calling from The Entertainer. We don't need any toys, mate. So that one kind of flopped. So today I want to talk to you about sales and how to sell without being salesy. And the reason that I want to talk to you about how to sell without being salesy is because it's one of the most common things I hear from new clients. I hate selling because I don't want to come across as being salesy. I mean, I didn't even know salesy was actually a word until 5 years ago. But it is what it is. So I'm going to talk to you about something called the APOC system. It sounds a little bit like something you'd catch if you went to Bali. It's actually an acronym, and I'm going to work my way through that. So, just remind me, who in here likes sales? Let me pick on somebody. Why? Tell us why you like sales. Okay. Anybody else who likes sales? Money, moolah. Fantastic. Anybody else want to give me an answer? Brilliant. You're a winner. I imagine you're very competitive, sir. But it's true. I mean, sales brings so much joy. For myself, getting a sale is really about being able to help that other person, which it's really quite serious, really. But I actually prefer that to the money. The money is just a byproduct. So let me talk to you about this acronym that I came up with last week when I thought, let me do a presentation and do loads and loads of slides and theory and that. And I thought, that's quite boring. I'm just going to talk about it. Right, so APOC. So APOC is APOC. The A stands for attraction or appointments, if you like. You can't get appointments unless you speak to people. And one of the difficulties that people have is in getting appointments or getting bookings or getting the chance to sit in front of another person to present their products. So you need to work on your attraction. So how can you do that? Well, you could be a speaker. Some of you might think, oh, I'm going to speak to that Nigel later. Some of you might think, absolutely no chance. But it's not really about, it's about what you put out there. Attraction comes from your marketing. You know, one of my favourite sayings is, make sure you're leaving plenty of breadcrumbs for the ducks. What do I mean by this? So, when you go to a park, and you go and feed the ducks, what happens? They're all in the middle of the lake. You appear with your bread, and then they all start swimming towards you. So you throw some in, they're all a bit of a feeding frenzy. But what would happen if you was to leave a trail of bread from the lake to the back of your car? What do you think would happen? You go on with a lot of ducks. If you was a vegan, you probably wouldn't. So you'd either have duck soup or duck as a pet. But it's the same thing about your attraction, your marketing. If you think about it, when you're online, when you're posting on social media and you're doing your thing, it's like, hey, look at my latest hairstyle and all those kind of things. What you're doing is you're leaving breadcrumbs. You're actually leaving breadcrumbs, you're leaving signals, you're leaving flags for people to say, hey, who's this person? Where some people go wrong, though, is that they don't help people make that next step, which is, oh, there's a link to the website. Oh, there's a landing page. Oh, in their bio, they're saying that they help this type of person, which actually is me. So work on your attraction, work on attracting people to your ecosystem, whether that's your website to then reinforce how you can help them, whether that's your landing page, whether it's a lead magnet, but work on getting people to want to speak to you, because if they don't want to speak to you, you're not going to get any appointments. If you ain't got any appointments, you ain't going to sell. Absolutely impossible. Unless you've got an e-commerce business, I will add. E-commerce is different. You ain't got to talk to no one. Just put it out there, new marketing, it's all good. But if you're working with people one-to-one, work on helping people speak to you. Work on helping people understand how you can help them. So that's the A. Some other things that you can do with that as well, especially if you're going to do a lead magnet, you can build an email list. You know, there's a saying that if there's 100 people in this room and I said, right, buy my thing, only 3 of you would. Half of that number would say, oh, I'd never buy off him as long as he's got a hole in his head. Whereas the other half would then say, well, I'll tell you what, I ain't going to buy now, but I'm going to keep this guy on my radar just until I'm maybe ready. But that's what an email list is for, because it allows you to nurture people. It allows you to kind of bring them into your ecosystem. Keep them thinking about you, keeping you top of their mind. You know, not everyone's ready to give you their money straight away. So that's the A. Attraction, appointments. The next one's presentation. P for presentation. So, presentations, you can only get confident at something if you've got competence. And you can only get competence if you've got knowledge. So your presentation is a mixture of your knowledge about what you're offering and your competence at talking about it. Now, if any of those don't align, you can come across a little bit bitty, a little bit disjointed. The person listening to you or in front of you might not be convinced that what you're offering is going to help them. So you need to work on that presentation and make sure that it's pretty slick. How can you get better at presentations? My favourite thing, role play. Now, some of you got dirty minds, that's why you're laughing. I don't mean dressing up in some night suit and going, but role play. Find someone who's prepared to listen to you, prepared to help you. If you can't find someone to do that, find a mirror. Record yourself on your phone. You know, this year I went through my phone and I realised I've got about 100 videos of me just speaking, doing presentations. Obviously, I got rid of those, free up some space. But get smart on your presentations, get sharp on your presentations. You know, something else about presentations as well, you know, if you've got somebody in front of you, if I'm completely honest, if you're talking more than them, you're not asking enough questions. You know, I've had clients, we've sat down, we've done a role play, not like that. And I've got them to go through their spiel, if you like. All they've done is talk at me. Oh, well, if you get this and you do that and you buy that and the benefits and the features, whoa! And not once do they slow down, stop, ask me a question. Because the thing is, when you're in a presentation situation, it's not about you, it's about the person opposite you. So get good at asking questions. You know, we're living in an age now where anything that you need to know, you can actually find out online. I mean, Google is like this oracle. You know, growing up, all I had was a library. If I wanted to know anything, I had to go to a library. Now I can go, it's all there. The answers are all there. So, you know, if you're struggling to ask the right questions or find the right questions to ask to uncover needs, because guess what? If you can't find a need, you ain't going to sell anything. Have a look on Google. Do a search. What questions can I ask someone to understand how they feel about this or that? Or, you know, what kind of questions can I ask someone to get them more motivated or to get them into the right frame of mind? Then, the O stands for objection handling. The scariest bit for most people. They said no. When I worked for Yale, one of the things that we were taught was to search for the no. You want the no. If you get the no, guess what you can do? You can move on, or you can change the conversation. It's really funny because when I worked at Yale, we had about a 2-hour presentation for the clients. I'd spend the first hour and a half talking to them about them. And then at the end of it, oh, God, Yellow Pages. But it was because I was trying to understand their needs, trying to understand what the objections would likely be that would come up in the future regarding the advertising program that I was going to take back to them. Trying to understand what their motivation was for spending money with you. You'd be surprised at what motivates. Where's my last speaker gone? You'd be surprised at what motivates people to spend money. Do you know people will spend more money because someone down the road is spending more money? Not because they'll get more business from it, but if he's doing it, I'm doing it. You know, many a time I'd go in to see a client spending £200 a year, £20 a month. We'd get talking. I'd ask him, you know, where are you looking to take this business? Well, I want to be bigger than the guy up the road. Who's the guy up the road? I knew he was anyway, because he was a customer of mine as well. Oh, yeah, you know. So I was showing him the advert. That's what he's got, Mr. Customer, one of them. Whoa, if he's got one like that, I want one bigger. Do you, Mr. Customer? That's fantastic news for me. So I'd go home, put together his presentation based on a £20,000 spend as opposed to a £200 spend. And then I'd go back. And then when that person said no to me, I'd say, well, you told me you wanted to be as big as him, so I've given you something bigger than him. Now, invariably, in a situation like that, what tends to happen is that they'd end up spending more money anyway, because they'd realise, well, if I want to be as big as him, I've got to spend more money. But if I want to be bigger, I've got to spend more money anyway. But, you know, understanding what your customers want will help you with objections. The other thing to do to get better at objections as well, Bob, is to evaluate your performance. You know, how many times do we as business owners stop and think about what just happened before we go on to the next thing? You know, if you come out of a call and it hasn't gone the way you wanted it to go, and if it's gone the way you wanted it to go, what you should do is evaluate what went well, what didn't go so well. That question that customer asked me where my mouth went all clammy and my teeth started jangling, I couldn't answer. I need to find the answer to it. Because the thing is, if you can address objections before they come up, then they're eliminated. The other great thing about knowing objections as well, or what objections are likely to come up, is you can use that on your website in your FAQs. So instead of someone thinking, well, you know, will this work for me, or how long is it, or is there a contract, I can go in your FAQs. So if someone does decide, after they've followed your breadcrumbs, yeah, I want to use this person, they've answered all my questions, you know, you're moving the odds more in your favour. So, you know, again, with objection handling, one of the ways that you can get better at it is role play. You know, it's quite funny. I'm saying all this, and I actually remember being in my house, talking out loud, doing a presentation where I'm pretending the customer's in front of me, and the wife shouting up from downstairs, "Who's upstairs with you?" "No one, babe. I can hear you talking to somebody. You're going mad." "No, babe, I'm doing some role play." Silence. Yeah, anyway. And then you've got the C, which is closing conversion. You know, I had a client, and I won't mention her name. She's a lovely lady, and she was an NLP coach. And when we first met, everything that she did was free. She'd do a free discovery call. She'd do a free first session. She'd do another free session. And these clients would be like, "Oh, I'm all sorted now," and then disappear into the sunset, and she didn't get paid. So why are you doing this? "Well, you know, if I do this enough times, someone's going to give me some money." I was like, no way, no chance, that's not going to happen. And it didn't. And one of the first things we worked at was, A, her pricing. So we went from £3 to £50 an hour. And B, how she delivered that price, because she was nervous about telling people what she charged. Now, the great thing about delivering a price is it gives you a chance to shut up, and it gives the other person a chance to digest what you've said. The amount of times I've done role play with a client, and we've gone through the pricing bit, and they've gone, "Yeah, well, it's £500, and if you do this, and if you do that, and if you go here, and you go there, and and then they start talking 10 minutes later, and I thought, whoa, stop a second. You told me a price, and you didn't let me digest it. You didn't let me come back to you and say, well, it's too much, or it's too cheap. Can I pay on instalments?" You know, deliver a price and shut up. In Yale, we had a saying, the first person to speak loses. Remember what I said to you earlier about that, those customers who were spending £200 and I'd go back with a £20,000 uplift? I'd say £20,000 and go, and I'd sit there and just stare each other out. And then they would speak. No, but, we didn't lose as such, but give that person time to digest your price before you kind of move on. Because let's be honest, if you say a price to somebody, there's only really 3 things they can say. No. But guess what you can do? You can go, why? Or they can say, oh, can I pay in installments? Fantastic. Or when can we start? That's the only 3 answers they can give you. They might throw in the old smoke screen thing of, well, I've got to speak to my husband first, or my partner. But those are all smoke screens. But those are the only 3 things that someone can say to you if you deliver the price. So APOC, attract to get your appointments, presentation, work on your presentation so that it's slick. Not perfect, but slick. Work on your objection handling. Understand why somebody might say no to you and find an answer, find a reason that overcomes that. And then work on your closing, your conversions. Because ultimately, if you go through all those things and you can't get the sale at the end of it, you're going to feel really cheesed off. So work on your conversions. The other thing I'll say about sales as well, though, is it is a numbers game. Gentlemen, you got an e-commerce site? Oh, you build it? Oh, fantastic. So you've got clients who are making thousands and millions. Speak to this guy, peeps, he can make you rich. The great thing, but you'll back me up on this, if you've got an e-commerce website, it's not a case of everyone who goes to your website is going to buy. It could be 1 in 100, 1 in 200, 1 in 50. It's the same with sales. If you've only got 1 appointment a week, you ain't going to sell much unless you're very, very good or you're offering a free service. So you've got to work on numbers as well. You've got to work on how many people can I speak to this week. This is why it's important that you've got your attraction system, building an email list. You can talk to these people every week. You can present, you can show them what you're doing. This is why it's important to have a presentation which you can take elements out and including your marketing message. This is why it's important to understand your objection handling, again, FAQs, and then obviously the closing comes in. Now, I think I'm actually French, Bloody quick that was. Okay, one of the things as well, because we were speaking about this earlier, if you want to get better at sales, have the mind of a child as well. Ask questions. The best salespeople in the world are actually children. How many of you have got kids here? How many times do you remember your kids asking you for something, and you say no, and them ending up with it? How does that work? Dad, can I have £5? No. Why? Because I said so. Well, can I have £3.50 then? Why? Because I need £3.50. Eventually, they wear you down. I call it the why question because they're constantly asking why they can't, why. You should be the same. If you're struggling at sales, if you're getting the no's, ask why. People generally tell you. And you can use their answer to either formulate a plan for the next appointment you have or handle the objection and move forward. So that's the other thing. I think that is it. If anyone got any questions about sales that you want to ask while I'm on here?
Any questions for Nigel? I'm glad he said that because I'm going to ask Shelley to come back up as well for a second. And I'm going to get some questions from the floor for you both. Or we could just watch Nigel dance.
Come on,
Shelley,
girl, come. No, it's really crazy. I couldn't have done this. Well, when I first started networking, I couldn't have done this. Stood in front of people and talked and all that. Like I said, knowledge, competence, confidence. Something else that helped me as well was doing a charity gig for comedy, a Glee Club. Put me on the stage, put me in front of people. But that's what I'm saying. I couldn't always do this. I couldn't always sell. I could always talk. But then turning that into a kind of sales process was difficult. So if you are struggling with sales today, trust me, I'm telling you now, you can get better, but you have to practice. Practice. And I'll be interested to know how many of you improve over the next 6 months. Feed it back to the group, feed it back to Stacey.
So basically, if you want to role play, Nigel's your man.